Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. Hey, 70 degrees in Michigan. Things are starting to dry up. My mud hole's starting to slowly dry up, warm enough. Got some equipment washed, my loader. I'm gonna give you a quick update about the ag bags. We gotta check on a bunch of heifers calving. All them heifers that were behind my house all summer, 25 of them, well, about 15 of them calved. Got a couple close today, and then for the next week or so, we'll have another 10. But I dug into my second to last hay bag. I had to open it from the tight end because that far end, when I finished this bag, it was corn silage, the first of corn silage. So I didn't want, I already got corn silage open, so I ended up opening up a tight end. This is third cutting, and I'm finishing up here with second. I'm doing the old mix, getting them used to it. This is some beautiful, beautiful stuff. Almost a little on the wetter side. I know some of you guys are always on my case about that, but the wetter stuff's mixing very well with this drier stuff. So that's what's going on with the ag bags, never ending. We're gonna head over to the field that they're tiling. They're over half done. We had a meeting yesterday. He wants to put in an 8-inch main. That was the advantage, he said, of tiling. When we had all that rain, 3 inches of rain, you knew where the real bad spots was. Had some 6-inch mains, but he said the 8-inch, he would do it. He'd spend the extra money. So we'll see if he got that in. Then we're gonna have to pick up a bunch of sticks over there with the gator. My brother's over there with that clam, clearing a bunch of brush. Nice and cool in these barns, I'll tell you that. Big Red here, she had them twins, if you remember. She's in heat today. Big Red Bull was riding her. Yeah, the cows are just relaxing, eating that feed. Like I said, I started mixing that hay, so it changed the feed a little bit, but nonetheless the production is still pretty well. And oh, hey. How you doing, big girl? How you doing? They're doing good. 3 girls up at the watering trough right now. You hear them floats running? Yep, here's one right here. She looks like she already calved. Licked the baby off. Black heifer. Jack's got feed out of the bunk. Fresh water for her. That's a big calf. Crossbred. Look at its leg. Look at that leg. Big bull. Big bull calf. Oh, spunky sucker. Popped right up. There's mom. Let's check her out. Yeah, she's looking good. Look at that. Mother son right there. That's a big heifer. That's a big baby. That's why we got that Angus bull. Hopefully, you know, Greg I think helped pull this calf, but those guys I got the Angus bull from, they said they've never, not never, but rarely do they have to pull a calf. These Holsteins, they just come out big. That's that 8-inch main they're tying into. There's a 6-inch next to it. He said she's a little greasy. Got them cleats you guys were asking. He took them out. Said he gets better traction with them gone. And I was wrong. Got one son that's exposing the main to tie into, and that's his other son pulling that. So we got a family operation going on here. If you've seen from the aerial footage, he's probably got about 60 to 65% done. And they're in a really, really, really wet spot. She's drying, but she'll dry once they get that in. That's 4 inch they're tying into it. He about got stuck up there, but he's getting through it. I've got a map I'm gonna overlay that he drew out. You see how this field, it's got so much coming across that road, different angles. He couldn't just tile one straight runs. He's got it all zigzag tying into each main. You'll see it from the paper. On the far side, I'll show you, he put a sock in. The sock usually does on more muck fields. The sock has bigger holes in the tile, but with a sock around it so no sediment can get in it. But he said it was real wet over there, so they put a good section of that 4 inch sock in. And this is the first piece where he tied it into that 8 inch. Well, watch, see where it comes out. Yeah, look at it. She's just a-flowing. Yep, there's your 8 inch. That's a big piece of tile. And there's your 6 inch. So as they put it in, look at it gush out. As they lay it in there, man, she's draining little by little. If you look here, that's about 18 inches of topsoil. And he's about a foot in to the clay. But look at that dirt, man. That's Michigan muck. That got put here when the glaciers were melting off. There's a 6 inch next to an 8 inch. That's water coming across the road, an endless flow. You see why I say this field was flooded? They banked this all up, and hopefully it'll be enough, because there's a big swamp over there. An endless flow. Look at that. But we're taking care of it. My brothers thought about heading over and trying to plug that. And we knew that wouldn't work. Mother Nature, you can't do that. But yeah, it must be just must be a pond or something in there too. Just leaching. But we're getting her. Well, I guess that's doing more than leaching. That's running. It's like running water. Yeah, I'm just gonna run up and down here. Like I said in that last tiling video, we had this, or my uncle had this line stake, which was beautiful, but you can see how far back we were. There wasn't a lot of trees in here, it was just scrub brush. So I'm gonna come in and pick some of this up, because it have to be picked up one way or the other. Because if you're gonna, once we go to rip this up and plant it, we're gonna need it cleaned up. Doesn't look all that bad. Greg did a good job with that clam. I think we're gonna take them home and use them for the wood burner. See, Greg found a couple souvenirs. Real nice rock here. Layered. That was, well, look at that. That was some serious pressure. That's why they're layered like that. Yeah, for example, here's your property line. All the way in here. That's all he's doing, he's cleaning this edge up. Doing a dang good job, isn't he? He can dig a ditch and he can grapple brush. He's an operator. I always say we do well because my brothers could be working real jobs, regular jobs. I shouldn't say real jobs. Regular jobs, operating, union. Probably 40, 50 bucks an hour, but instead they decide to work with their family at minimum wage and keep the legacy going. It's a sacrifice, but it's a great life. You gotta enjoy what you're doing. He gets to go to all his kids' baseball games, and they don't have to drive to work. How about that? Then he'll grab that and shake that out, one big pile. He'll cat it and put it on the burn pile. And in case you guys were wondering, if you were concerned, I've got a burn permit. That's what I do. They tell me to get a hold of the township and tell them we're going to be doing a little brush fire. And I say Greg doesn't have to drive to work. He does. He's got to drive a mile. So you tell me if he's making the right choice. Go make a pile of money or stay home and farm. You see where I'm at? We're on the south side of the field. A ton of water coming right from across the road. That's why this ditch had to be dug out properly. So we're gonna get her, but a lot of water funnels through here. Heads to St. Clair County, then it heads to Canada. I know you guys like it when I say that. She's going to Canada. I'll tell you what, she's rough out here. Once they get done and it dries up enough, all we're gonna do is come in here with a disc. We're gonna lightly put the tractor tire on each one of these tile lines and just try to cut it up. Here's some of the drains here. Here's that tube there is just, we kept it in there in case we get flooded rain like we have been getting. Seems like you're getting them every year now. That'll just be the flooding on top of the field overflow. Nothing's coming out of it now. Coming out of this 6-inch. And across the road there, we got 4-inch coming out, or across the ditch. A lot of flow, a lot of flow. She's really draining. 70-degree heat, fresh tile. Big project he's got going on here, but 60 to 65% of the way down. By the time Greg gets that cleaned up, they'll be done with this, and then they'll move over to where the excavator's at and finish up. You're wondering about these tiles, or these tires along the road here. That's what they use to load that machine on the lowboy. I'll call in a lowboy to get the tile plow moved to another field. They'll keep moving. Yeah, this is where we keep our buckets. This is an actual digging bucket. Missing a couple teeth. And here's your ditching bucket. This thing's huge. Bigger than it looks. Guy said when we were putting that clam on, need to get a quick attach. I'm not quite sure they make one for how old that machine is, but as much as we do it, we'll switch it over by hand. Yeah, Jack sprayed that down, looks good. I had an issue with my mixer where the conveyor is. We'll take a look at that in a second. Where I had it mixed up, but it wouldn't unload. Something broke inside the conveyor. And if you see what I see, a big patch here. I'm gonna go over this with some more tape and patch it again. Well, the cows were a little hangry. The bull, my big red bull, was very hangry. And he came out and he put his head through that bag. I watched him right through that window. He come out, he was bucking around, boom. Bags are delicate when you got a 1,500-pound bull or more headbutting them. In the shed, checking out this mixer. Yeah, these mixers are excellent, don't get me wrong. But what happened was, you have to have these locks. See these locks on this cylinder? Because I got an incline going into that bunk. Now these are made to run flat. While being on an incline, some feed can get stuck up under here. There was a rubber piece. You see I got the plate off? A rubber piece holding that. And feed would get built up underneath there and it would just start binding and binding. So we cleaned it out once before. And this time I said, well, let's just leave the flap off. And while I'm dumping the feed in, we're seeing if any feed would fall out of it. No feed comes out. The only feed that comes out of there is when I'm lifting this back up to make a turn. A little bit drops out here. But for the time being, I'm gonna leave it out. That's the ticket, because this was, it's just kind of a pain, but it's working. And I think I'm gonna be foolproof from here on out. There was a rubber shield flap in there that was giving me all sorts of problems, but I left it out. We'll see how that works. Speaking of Big Red, there he is right here. You in a better mood? Huh? Snell? Big ox. Big old cojones on him too. Got a little bit of feed that comes dropping out of there. That's it. So that's not too bad. I'm gonna leave that pan off. Otherwise, a bunch of old feed just gets packed and packed and packed and packed in there, and then it just stops working. Here's my scoop of grain I'm gonna put in next. And here's my corn silage. Corn silage is excellent, excellent this year. Can't even really, there's your kernels, they're all mashed and mushed. We chopped this fairly green. About to come out. Oh, big cat. Big calf. Wait for her to push. She's trying. Calf's alive. There she goes. Calf's spunky. See all that fluid coming out of her mouth? That's what we want. Get it to drain out. There it goes. Oh. Oh. I'm gonna drag it up here on the straw, real gently. You gotta see if Mom will get up. Pull it right in front of her. Oh, there she went. Big bull. Look at that heifer. She's doing a good job flicking her baby off. Check in on this little guy. All white heifer, crossbred calf, little bull. This heifer here was out in the pasture. They both were. That one definitely took after the dad.